Take a seat.
You want to show me?
Yeah, let's show you. Let's show you. Let's bring this up.
Let's go.
We weren't very prepared, man. We didn't know. We didn't know what was going on. They just dropped it, man. What's the website? Should I just go to Twitter?
Valve YouTube.
It's twitter.com/Counterstrike.
Yeah, they changed their handle.
Counter-Strike now.
They're now
That's the
at
app.
Counter-Strike.
Beautiful name.
Oh,
I can.
It's kind of important we have the best player in the game able to talk about the new game. That's kind of a big deal right now.
Let's start with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't worry about the match you just played. Who cares about that?
Anybody want to
go? Let's talk about. Let's talk about. What do you want to see?
Source 2.
We'll show them some map stuff.
Show the smokes.
Oh, the smokes first.
Yeah, the smoke one is really crazy.
Yeah, that's when you can actually see the gameplay.
This one here. Okay, check this out.
What the hell?
So
You thought I was joking. That's the bad part.
Earlier this year,
90k likes, man.
earlier this year, me and Alex actually got to go and test this. Hugo and Harry were there too, so we can talk you through if you got any questions here of stuff that you might be seeing, mate. We're not experts, but we've played it.
But watch these bloom. Ready?
So check this out.
Wow, what the fuck?
So these are volumetric smokes now. So like if you throw these in like upper tunnels, they're going to go up and out. They're going to fill the space. And with these, if you throw a HE into it, you can clear the smoke temporarily with a nade, and you can shoot bullets through it.
But did you actually try this?
Yeah, I swear to God.
No, I don't believe it.
I can show you, man.
No, fuck this.
What do you mean, man? We're not trolling ya.
But
Look, it's going through. There's a hole now.
Yeah,
When you shoot, there's a hole.
And there's no one way.
Get him over here, man.
Yeah, Blade.
Boys, come
Where's
over
Blade?
here.
Blade.
Let's get him
Bring Blade
here.
in.
Где Blade? Валера, новый это, иди сюда, быстрее, новый КС.
Yeah, he's right. This is important. Come on.
Let's bring everybody. Everybody needs to see it. Reload video.
Check this out, bit. Source 2.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
come
Yeah,
on,
check
come
it
on.
out.
Чуваки, братан, это в Твиттере CSGO.
But you can shoot the smoke.
Если ты стреляешь через
Source 2, you want to look?
понял? Смотри.
Yeah, this bit.
Yeah, you
this
can
bit.
shoot through the smoke and they'll disappear. It's come like a few seconds.
I mean, I can see this in my.
Damn.
Okay.
The Zeus is really good. Look.
Wow.
And then
Oh yeah,
nade makes it disappear.
The smokes.
Simple's face, bro.
The smokes
hell?
are color-coded simple. So they're bluey for CT and they're yellow for,
Yeah, but
for
they
Ts.
disappear whole smoke or half
For a
smoke?
second. It
For a
goes
few
like,
seconds, for just a second, and then, yeah.
So you can throw it, do the peak double doors, bang.
And then it comes back in.
At least I see dust too there.
Yeah.
Ooh, Zeus.
Zeus looks fancy, bro.
What was the question?
How to cross the
Okay,
secret
next
now?
one.
Yeah, Blade might have to work that one out, mate. That might be a bit of a
That's
problem.
a good question.
Next one.
Go
Yeah.
up, go up. What's this one?
This is about
about
the
the
tick
tick
rate,
rate.
actually.
Okay.
128 now?
So-
Tickless, right?
Yeah.
There's
Sub-tick.
no tick.
Sub-tick.
Sub-tick.
But essentially it means that what you are seeing and what the people are playing against you are seeing is exactly the same.
Nice.
No difference.
God damn.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. They really have thought of it all. A lot of numbers.
That's- yeah.
this is
This is the boring one. Hang
But
on.
so what's some of the other stuff that we can talk
They were
about?
the maps. They were talking about the maps and
That's
some
true.
of the
So-
upgrades to them.
They did show a whole page of that. You can slide it back and forth and see the difference, like overpass long A's
That's
there.
right, that's
did
on
they
the
announce
website.
when they...
Say summer.
Is it
They
gonna
say,
be official?
They say in
No?
the summer.
I
Summer
Summer
Oh,
23.
nice.
I would
because
assume
we need
this
to
is-
finish the tournaments. That's-
Yeah, I guess after the next
beautiful.
major,
Yeah,
right?
maybe we do Paris.
Yeah,
on
hey,
what we have
Valve,
now.
Vive, if you hear me, let us finish tournament. So all of us will have the same amount of time to prepare after the player break before ESL and Cologne, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Cologne's the first blast groups, I think, but then Cologne.
Before
yeah.
blast groups,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, seems like a party to me. Let's ride.
Bloody hell. Trace, that went the wrong way, mate.
Nice. Again with the misfire.
Black and yellow, black and yellow. Thank you, guys.
Thank
That
you.
worked out.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming,
Good
man.
game.
Oh, wow.
All right, I'm seeing you guys later. I'll go-
banned for life from these
Well, I think we're staying here now.
No, that was
I don't know if
had a
could-
disaster
leave
in
it.
Poland as well.
leave it be, leave it in Poland. But source two,
Get in
source
here,
two,
Harry.
source two. Get
Take
in
one
here.
of the player mics. Where's Hugo? Get in here. Bring a
Pyro, I'll just
microphone.
kinda-
Come on, we can make space.
Everyone
Alright,
take a seat.
I've been working on my impression for this.
Okay.
You know, like one of my favorite parts of this Source
Here you go.
2 adventure we had.
Hello, check.
Check. Am
You
we
good?
mine on?
The Source
Am
2
I on?
adventure. All
Boys?
right.
No.
Alex is talking about our adventure. Let's
One of my
great.
favorite parts, great time, but one of my favorite parts was learning about the way the models were moving and how much it impacted us.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize it. CS1, you're like a static rectangle.
Yeah, at the top half.
You just kind of, you're peeking corners like this, but now every button you're pressing is reflected in your character's movement.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
what-
this
the
was
coolest-
actually one of the things that we tried to speak to them about,
Yeah.
right? Because when we went there, it was cool to see how much more detailed like the models were, and there was a lot more like micro movement in the player model, right? So like even when like you would like turn, like say you're like swiping, I don't know, like nuke main, and you're like going between like hut and door. Normally in like Source 1, that like barely moves your upper body, right? But in Source 2, when we were playing there and like the version we were playing on, it was super noticeable. Like the head moved independently of like part of the chest, independently of the arms. So it was like way more.
We're gonna whiff so many
was-
guys.
You are gonna
whiff
win.
so many guys.
This was actually one of the things we
It
spoke
was
to
good when
them
you were
about.
aiming behind.
Okay.
Yes, that
On
too.
that note,
And
though,
one of the
Harry,
things that we talked to them about was like the idea of, oh, can we change this? And then like they kind of we saw that
Yeah, we got
that's
to watch
possible.
them physically change
Yeah,
things.
and
That's pretty cool.
and I don't know if that ended up sticking. Like,
But it's a value.
I'm excited to
It's
see.
a value.
that's the
Yeah.
key, right? Because people say, "Oh, what is source? Why does the engine upgrade matter?" And we see the term spaghetti code thrown around, right? It's not just the visual changes and what changes inside the game. It's the fact that Valve can make quicker changes and they can adjust the game. So, for example, when we saw this initially, we saw the models and we didn't like how they moved. They flowed in a weird way. So we said, "Hey, here's our suggestion. Here's how we'd like it to look. The model to move around." They took us up to the room. They sat.
He had a standing desk.
desk.
Yeah.
in front of
Yeah,
his
yeah,
little
yeah.
bubble, and we saw him live change the values. Took 5 seconds, and it completely changed how the model moved.
Yeah.
And so we coached him a little what we thought would be the best way the model could move, how it looked visually, and they changed it instantly. So I think that's the key with Source 2. You say, what does it mean? It means Valve can ship updates quicker, more efficiently, and easily, and that is such a big difference for the longevity in this game. Counter-Strike is going nowhere.
And I think I have an important thing that we need to
Yeah.
tell everybody at home.
Yeah.
It's not 4 or 5 devs working on
That's I
Counter.
wanted to talk
there's
about
so
that.
many.
God
devs.
damn.
So here's the deal, right?
Yeah.
We play tested Source 1 because they wanted us to
Yeah.
make sure we had the feel for it, and then we'd go in and play Source 2 after.
Yeah.
And at one point, we're in the middle of just playing matches, and I turn around, and I swear to God, there was like 30 people in this room
Yes.
just
Yes.
watching us play. And we were playing just rounds of Counter-Strike, and they were like clapping. And I was like, what is going on? Right? We're just...
And we said,
Dude,
by
one
the
of
way,
the-
are all these people working on
Yeah.
Source 2? And they said, yes, every single one of these people are in some way working on Source 2 in some capacity.
That was something else that was cool. Like, obviously, right, we're in, like, the Valve HQ, so, like, you're seeing a lot of, like, the developers, and we were kind of asking, like, you know, how... Because everyone hears, like, little rumors about how, like, things worked internally, how they used to work, like, what might be happening now. So we were kind of asking, like, you know, what actually happens here? And it's like, they explained that, you know, the team might start off small, like, you work on, like, proving the concept, essentially. Like, you build something, and if it attracts more people, that's cool. Like, over time, you bring in people, and if they feel like this is something fun or engaging or worth doing, then they start to like dedicate more resources to it as it builds up. And I think that's why now the dev team is like ballooned to some number.
we don't know how many
we
people,
don't
but
know
yeah,
the
a
exact
lot of
number,
people.
but there were a lot of people in that room that were all taking notes, that were all a part of it.
Tell me,
So,
I don't care as much about Valve as I do. How does it feel to play this game?
well,
So if we're going to be completely candid from the get-go,
Sure.
the biggest issue that we had when we played the game was the audio and how much that really plays into when you're playing
Yes.
Counter-Strike. We were having really big issues with audio because when you play Source 1 now, you don't realize how much the sound cues tell you because it's so intuitive. You played so many hours that it doesn't click to you that it's new or that it's different. But when you're playing it and it's not right? That's the
Yeah,
thing.
you
We
can
had to
feel it.
identify what was wrong, but when it didn't feel right...
Remember the gun sound fiasco?
man.
We've ruined AKs. We've ruined Counter-Strike.
yeah, I mean,
new sounds, by the way, yeah.
I mean, no. So I think the way I would break it down is if like you look at it at like core levels, I think graphically / visually, the game still looks like Counter-Strike.
Just tuned up.
Just upgraded,
Shadows,
right?
lighting.
And I mean like seriously upgraded.
It
like,
looks sick. I like the new lighting. Amazing
When I kept seeing tweets that were saying stuff like, just to be clear, it's an engine upgrade, the graphics probably won't change. I kept thinking to myself like, oh, how wrong
You
are,
idiot.
you know? Like,
Guys, you can see your legs.
But dude, it was surprising.
Yeah.
So like,
And your shadow.
You can see your legs and your own shadow.
Well, unless they've updated that out, right? We don't know if they stay with that
True.
or not.
They just
True.
tweeted a photo of
feet
looking
pics.
down.
They
one
did-
day.
they did tweet
They definitely did.
Yeah.
Wait,
And
Trey,
that's-
show us. You
Yo,
got it?
I've got, well, not the feed pics, but I do have pictures of the overhaul. Should we want to see that? That's the wrong monitor.
Yeah, you can play it. We can keep chatting.
That is the wrong monitor, perhaps.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
There we
So
go.
this is what Overpass currently looks
so this
like,
is
right?
one of the maps we played most, completely overhauled, right?
There's
We
so
talked
many
about
new
map
angles.
overhauls.
New angles,
This
for
one
sure.
is completely different visually, and a much needed upgrade, I'd say, for a map that was getting pretty stale, pretty boring. I don't know how much we can talk about the maps we saw. Is it completely open chat? Or no?
I don't know. I just asked them if we could talk about it now that they announced it, and
Hey,
they
they
said
know
yes.
what we saw. They
Yeah.
know what we saw.
Just
We saw an Inferno overhaul briefly, a little bit of a visual change.
We didn't
there.
play Inferno.
We didn't
though.
play it.
No,
though,
so
we
you
don't
guys
know.
illegally looked into Inferno.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I did
But
illegally
Overpass-
look into
Overpass
it.
The
was
banner is
big
actually
one.
cool now.
It is kind of cool.
It actually
We're just
looks
working
sick.
on the profile picture.
And I like their bio now on Twitter is the CSGO killer.
Yeah.
Because the ad is just at Counter-Strike.
What do we think about the name change as well? Removing the Go, Global Offensive, gone with the
I
win.
think we need
think
to
it
get rid
sounds
of
beautiful.
I think we need to get rid of the 2. Just have Counter-Strike. Why do we need the 2?
I like that. I mean, the Reddit's going
I
to be in
guess
trouble
because
now.
it like ties to Source 2 and it is
Yeah.
the second like in this current modern
And
iteration,
Valve and
right?
2 is usually
Yeah,
where this
That's
is.
right.
true.
Yes,
Yeah.
true.
Counter-Strike
But, I
2.
mean, at
I
least
like
that,
it. You had Dota, now you have Dota 2, you have Counter-Strike, now
okay.
Counter-Strike 2. And
Dude.
now it's just Counter-Strike 2 forever.
So let's talk though. Let's talk like gameplay, right? Because we've
Okay.
done like I think visually all it is upgraded is like,
Shooting is the same?
Huge. This is what we're gonna get onto. So
yeah.
so visually things are just prettier. The water physics.
Oh
Oh, my
my
god, the
God.
water
Oh,
physics
they're
are
so
like
cool.
Ancient.
are like
Ancient.
mentally good.
All of
Like,
us were running out of spawn on the first,
Staring
like,
at
we
our
spawned, and we were going, holy shit!
It's interesting. Though. It's not just visually appealing. It's something that could be like information as well, especially at the top
Yeah, it
level.
leaves
When you run, you
ripples.
leave a trail, a ripple of where you ran. So say I run round a corner, but you never
The water
actually
is
see
moving.
me.
Yeah.
If you look at the water, you can
so
see
like,
hail.
you can like
tracking
Jurassic
around.
Park
Smell the
this.
floor like, yes.
Yes.
I see clues.
3 of them.
Also, the lighting is crazy, especially
That's
the
true.
bomb. The bomb has like a cool red blip on it, and it casts these like incredible shadows now. So that all looks really
nuke
good.
post-plant?
Yeah. So now, like looking at like I guess, do you want to do audio or gameplay? If you want
Well,
to,
I mean,
try
the
and
audio
talk
right now,
about-
we were just showing the smoke video, and this has to be addressed. Like the
yeah,
smoke
yeah.
that's
Let's
fading
just
away
go.
from
Let's just go
grenades and
straight
shots. Like,
gameplay. Straight gameplay then. So Chad, you want to talk about the util a little bit?
Yeah,
What's-
okay. Let's go with the
what
smokes
feels new?
because that's the Molly's easy to talk about. Molly and Incendiary, right? Like they just look different visually. When we got to see them, they were like more of a white blue flame
You
than
can
they
peek
were.
over Molly's now.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Thank
visually.
God.
You didn't feel like you had to have a setting set either way.
Yes.
There was something else as well. Like this is kind of gameplay but visual. They didn't think that we needed to worry about using clear decals anymore for blood. That one of the things they wanted to improve was the visibility, so you didn't need to use clear decals to worry about removing the blood in case that was
That's
an
so
issue.
wild.
But yeah, so
This is
the-
crazy.
That's wild, yeah.
The
Volumetric.
flashes when we were there were overpowered, but that was one of our biggest. There was more like source flashes.
Yeah,
I remember they were like
this,
6
this
seconds
was
of
one
not
of
seeing
our
anything.
biggest gripes.
That
is
sound
a
was the
flash
flashes.
didn't even really have to be near you, and you're like, oh well, I'm out of the.
It felt like they
We
just
like
wasn't there.
regressed back to 2015 and
I
we were just
know.
doing
Yeah.
Tech 9 B flashes and just go,
But that's the thing. I think the first thing about flashes was there was no drop off at range, right? Like a flash
Yeah.
could be on the other side of the map, you
And
go
it would
full
still blind you
old
completely.
go, right? Or old source. But the cool thing again, because I'm going to be repping Valve so much, I'm going to shill all I want. Like they were so receptive
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
feedback.
They knew
and
that
they
was a
did
problem.
listen. And I don't know how many other
I mean,
teams
I'm pretty
where
sure
other
they
groups
even
of people
said
went
like,
out,
yeah, we
but,
felt like that was a bit, you know, like they kind of said like, yeah, we weren't sure about it, so like
Sure.
the fact that you have kind of talked about it is a good thing, right? Like,
I wanted to bring up just because we
Yeah.
were talking about, you know, Valve as a skeleton crew, but something that really clicked for me when they were talking about it was the main reason we'd go to Source 2 is because it's a code language the whole company speaks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
can
yeah.
do it.
So
Yeah.
literally anyone. It's not like you don't have a set role in Valve. You can just move your desk and go, I'm doing this today. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's hot desking. And so you have this opportunity where now if everyone's speaking the same language, we can have the whole company building this game and making those
And that's what it
upgrades.
seemed like, because the meme of like, oh, there are 4
Right.
devs was probably true at one point, especially when things like Dota and other games were moving to Source 2, but then Go was still on Source 1. And now, yes, as you said, everyone
We've got
speaks
the
that
whole team.
language. Everyone can work on
They
it.
ended up in this weird spot where, like, if it stayed on Source 1, it'd be like, well, we're just gonna have to train people
One
to
guy.
use an engine that we're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
using anymore, and that is like way like.
And also just longevity.
Yeah,
They
exactly,
mentioned that
right?
the
Yeah.
way they talked about it, they were like, Counter-Strike can still be around in 10 years. And we all
and it
know
will.
that, but it will be now. It's
Yeah.
a fact.
So let's talk smokes then,
Okay.
and
Go
the
on.
interactions there. So
the color
smokes
coding's
now,
nice, I
yeah,
like that.
they're color coded, as Chad said. If you missed that, it's like a kind
But
of
didn't
orangey.
it work that if we picked up a CT smoke and we used that it was CT colored? Remember?
Oh,
Did we
I
test that?
don't remember.
Forgot. I remember.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's a
What's
good
this?
point. I don't know.
So if you pick
Yeah.
up a CT smoke,
Oh,
and you
no,
throw
we
it,
did
was,
test that. I think it's who throws it.
Was it?
Okay.
I
It
don't
should be like
remember.
that.
We
It
should have
should
made
be-
a
it
note
should
of
be
that.
like
Maybe
that.
we can find out, because 11 minutes ago at Counter-Strike 2, players are selected for the Counter-Strike 2 limited test based on a number of factors deemed important by the Counter-Strike 2 development
so we
team,
can play.
including but not limited to recent playtime on Valve official servers, Trust Factor, and Steam account standing.
Okay.
We just played last
Yeah,
night.
Yanko, we're getting your hours up for this reason.
Yeah.
bro. We had your
So
work.
maybe we can share the love a little bit. Valve did let us know that, on Twitter that some people will be able to play.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we might have access to it now or not.
Yeah.
We'll have to check.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, color coding of the smokes. The other thing is you can shoot holes into the smokes.
That in itself is insane.
But
Yeah.
they're
Caliber of the
they're
gun
not big
matters.
enough. The holes aren't big enough to, like, it's different ranges. We tried with the Negev, didn't we?
Ironically, I've been shelling the Negev here at Pro League, but like that was the most effective gun. And the auto shotgun, the spam, the alligator, because if you, it's lots
the
of
shotguns
it's lots of
did
spread,
make
right?
bigger holes,
So if,
yeah.
if I go to a smoke and go doon doon doon, you're standing next to me with an M4, you can see
I
through.
understand that the hole is limited, right? It's not just a pure information, but if you just happen to like search for an opponent and then you see him, that's it.
You could get him.
shoot,
I'll be
you
honest,
just see the
one
model.
bullet does nothing.
You won't be able
If
to.
you're unloading your mag, it gets
Okay.
bigger and bigger as you spray. But I'm saying, like, as in, if you were just tapping the smoke,
you can't
you're
fish
not
for
going to be like,
information like-
there you are. It's
You
more
can't
so
do
you'll
that.
hit, if you
Yeah.
hit him, you know you've hit
And
him.
But like the thing
Yeah.
that I was thinking when we were even playing, because obviously immediately your brain goes like to okay at the top level, like what's this going to do, right?
That's
like,
what my brain is going right now. I'm flying.
So
like,
one of the things
yeah.
I was thinking was that like in theory, smoke spam now, in spite of like the A1S still being super prevalent and being silent, still comes with like an inherent risk. If you're
It's
a CT,
dangerous as
right?
hell.
Yeah, it's like if I unload through this smoke and I miss where I'm trying to spray,
And they'll
I
see
can
the hole
die
anyway,
back.
right? Everybody sees the hole.
It goes both ways.
Yes,
And
exactly.
Even how close you are to the smoke kind of matters, because it's like it felt like when you were closer, the hole would kind of be like beneath your eye line, so you were kind of having to like find this impossible angle to peek through to get like a good angle. So I don't think we're going to see it used a lot with like I shoot the smoke to give myself vision. I
But
think
for
if
a
anything,
teammate,
it might
yeah.
be a bit more. I'm either trying to set someone up or I'm going to get punished because I've spammed the smoke.
Yeah, and in the same breath, the nades. I don't
Yes.
think
We started using it more towards the end.
You know, like the
Yeah.
flusher nade of old school, where you go peek long, you'd underhand a HE and peek with
Behind the smoke, yeah.
But like now, that HE, I would argue, is probably not for setting yourself up. Like it is in it. Matchmaking, it probably will work, but in the high level play, we're going to be seeing people with strats like throw this smoke. When I call for the nade, I'm scoped
exactly.
up
Yeah,
on
I
it,
can
you know?
step up with
Like
the
I'm
orb,
thinking
yeah.
squeaky.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
thinking like squeaky
It
door.
increases team
I know your
I
sniper
think
is
it's
ready.
kind of
You
cool
nade for
because
him.
it's given like a bunch of cool counterplays
It's
to
another
smokes,
option,
which at times, like the one that really springs to mind for me is like Monster on Overpass, right? Like we've all seen those rounds where smoke goes in,
Yeah.
teams wait in a push, they have to go through the smoke, they're all going to die.
That's-
I can already tell you how that round's going to end. But if they have a nade, suddenly like the
There's a
chance is
chance,
there,
yeah.
nade the smoke,
paper,
1
scissors,
second
yeah.
division.
Actually, Monster is even worse because from what I can see about the smokes, if you throw it in the middle of the Monster tunnel,
It's
the
gonna send
whole
the smoke
tunnel
out.
is
Yeah,
going to be
yeah,
smoked.
yeah. that's
So
true.
you're actually
And
going
also,
to be in the smoke for 4 seconds.
This is another concern, and I say concern because it's just different, right? That we raise, like because smoke spread and are as what we're using is volumetric.
Yeah, like this.
Filling
This
a
is what I
space,
meant.
right?
That's right.
Fill a
That's
space
crazy.
like this. The inverse applies. So say you throw a smoke in an open area, we actually found that they were longer,
Yeah, too low.
but lower. So for
Oh.
example, throw the jungle smoke on Aeon Mirage with the stairs,
You
right?
can
Like
see
the
a palace.
cross one, and your palace, you can see into window like
Yeah.
that angle.
Okay.
That would typically the smoke would rise above. You couldn't. We raised that. We said it's different.
They
I don't
might
know
have
where it
changed
ended
high.
up.
I won't lie.
Yeah,
These
I
are
wanna know
looking
where the
higher,
height went-
Hugo, than what
ended.
we played.
For sure.
These are definitely looking higher because like
Look
mid-
how low that one is, though.
Yeah, you're right.
But for example, I'm pretty sure you could smoke long A on Dust 2 with one smoke like the old days now.
no, well, you
But obviously
you
not
could
high.
see over.
Yes, for
yeah,
sure. Yes.
Yeah, that
Like
was
short to car, definitely a fight.
But
But he just did it. He naded for himself, and then with the aid,
one
he got the kill
more
short.
notes on smokes that just came to mind. Remember we have the idea of like phasing smokes, and that was a big thing in the meta, like making the minimap big so you could like look for the red dot, you sit in the smoke, the guy in the smoke often wins, right? That's now different. I want to say better because the way that the smokes depart, they don't just like fade inwards. Sections of the smoke disappear.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it feels way more 50-50 in a good way, like an even fight. Both players, whether you're in the smoke or out the smoke,
Thank
get the
God.
info at the same time. So that felt a lot better when we would sit in smokes and wait for them to phase
Oh,
out.
the kill
HUD?
notification.
Yeah,
I
the
wanted to
HUD. Should we
talk
talk
about
about
that.
the
Oh,
HUD?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing I wanted to highlight, if you could go back, Trace, are you driving?
There's two drivers in one car.
This overpass kill. You see this
we
at the
can
bottom
pause
of the
it, yeah,
HUD?
that's fine too.
What are we
Just-
looking at?
So basically, in the
Top right.
bottom of your screen, you see
Okay.
this
Yeah,
flash
oh,
of
yeah.
light.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the different cards.
So it's the readability,
interesting.
and there
yes,
was
the
cards,
yeah.
but
They would, like, build up.
as opposed to just the top right text, you have the additional thing which will keep track as 5 skulls that grow
Yes.
around.
Yeah.
It's just for usability and
it's
for the
usually
new
hidden in the
players.
bottom right, right?
You get a flash of light, like you can see there at the bottom of the screen for each kill you get. So there's you don't have those moments of you turn
Keep it playing.
away, perhaps thinking you killed him.
Now this we don't know because we haven't played it, but there was discussion about. Should I?
No, I don't know.
Wait, what?
Whoa.
Whisper it with the
I
mic
won't.
down.
Should I?
won't.
You little
Wait,
tease.
Yeah, like lower the mic. Lower
Said
the mic.
too
there.
much.
Mouth it to me.
Wait, say it to me. Don't say it because we don't know anything.
Okay, all right.
And also,
all
I
right.
should.
Hugo, come on.
Well,
guys.
no, it's a bad
Hardcore
thing.
Well, it's maybe a bad thing.
It's definitely
Here's
a
something
bad
I can tell everybody at home. There will be a
Yeah.
bind in the bloody game for jump throws in the
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
game.
Might as well have
In
it.
the
That's
game.
great.
It's in the game.
Might as well have it.
And you could throw the same smokes and they would land as well.
Yes, they announced the what is it below tick? Like tick is now no longer a thing. Whether it's shooting, because this was a conversation we had. Valve were very good because they wouldn't
tell
give
us
us
what tick
everything.
rate it was.
Even though they were letting us play it, they wouldn't tell us a lot of things
Dude,
on
they
purpose.
kept saying,
So
what tick rate does
Do you
it feel
think-
like?
Dude,
Oh man, like what am I meant to say to this? Like,
but yeah, the key with tick rate, I think the big takeaway, all this mumbo jumbo that I don't understand, but smokes thrown in MM and thrown in pro games will
All
now
one
be
and
the
the
same.
same.
Double
What
thumbs
this
up for
will
that
mean,
one.
however, is we might have to completely learn every lineup over again.
it's time to
I
go
don't-
back. It's
Yeah,
time to
we-
go
some
back.
of the
we-
lineups
we
are
coming back.
Yes, everyone's back to square
we
one.
tried a
potentially.
bunch of like pre-existing lineups, and a lot of them didn't work, or would
Sometimes
fall,
worked.
would maybe fall in like the right place, but because smokes are like working
Yeah.
differently
Doesn't have
now,
the same
it didn't
effect.
cover it.
But to be honest, I don't think it will be a big deal because I love that video that Mahone did a couple of days
Yeah.
ago about the evolution of
evolution
like
of the
smokes
windows
and the
of-
mirage smoke, because it's not just about nowadays. It's not about the lineup. It's that you have 5 different ways to throw a smoke: standing, crouching, jump throwing, running and jump throwing, right? All this stuff. So it's just going to be about you know kind of where you need to throw it from. So then it's just about finding like some little lineup that's the way for you. But I think the sub-tick one is a massive one. I think
for sure.
we focus a lot as we should.
Yeah.
It is our job to focus on the pro level and elite Counter-Strike. But just for the casual player, man, that's going to be such a massive difference. Especially
It's the-
people who are a little bit remote, who are not super close to like where the server hubs are. Like for Maltese people, man, I've been playing on 70 ping, like 60 ping in these games that we're playing. It's not that much fun. I know ping and tick are not the same, but it just feels that the game will be much smoother.
Trace, can you rewind this back like
Zeus.
10 seconds? So
Yeah.
I want to talk
Yeah.
about a few visual
I got
things
it.
here, right? So number one, just keep
You
rolling
can see the
it.
different
Oh, a little
colored
bit
smokes
further
there,
back?
by the way, as well.
No. This is good. I mean, now maybe we're too far back, but it's fine. It's all good. Right, pause it in a second now. So pay attention to a few things. Number one, the bomb flashing, the lighting looks incredible. I think this is going to be insane for frag movies. That was my first thought. Like,
Yeah,
man,
like
they're going to
I
make some
noticed it.
cool looking
Chad's
stuff.
back.
And take a look
The movie effect.
at the Zeus.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Visual.
Oh, the visual
So
effect
look,
is incredible.
right? You get this, and then when it's planted, the light changes to red as well, so it gets
I
like a
can't
bit more
believe it's-
sinister.
I'm gonna
Oh.
log in and see if I have access.
Yeah, let us know, chat. I
I'll
can't
see.
believe this is here, boys. I'm freaking out right now. This is actually.
I've been
real.
sort of shaking low-key since the beginning, since we've seen this video. I haven't calmed down.
Which one can I
I
log in
haven't
on?
calmed
Which one are we
down.
not
Try it out.
showing?
Do this one right here.
so
Wait,
many
hold on. Yeah,
I know, dude.
we're showing that one right
All
now.
right, good. Let
Hey,
me see if I can log in.
I'm gonna ego check for a sec. I got the first clutch on Source 2. Just throwing that out there.
Oh,
1v2
wow,
backside
man.
A Mirage. Oh, no big deal. No big deal.
I hope you enjoyed
You
it.
had to play
I think
Mirage.
Harry,
Hugo?
Yeah, we did have to play Mirage.
Harry's rivalry actually with
with
Forrest.
Oh,
yeah,
There was a
dear.
rivalry.
The
Actually-
aiming rivalry.
Like, I don't know how
Forrest
many
and Harry.
times we were playing opposite. I was next to Harry. Forrest was opposite us. And I swear every game, at least once, Forrest would just scream, Harry, what the fuck? What are you doing?
Dude, yeah, it was good,
Just
man.
pushing smokes with his deagle out.
It made me feel invincible.
Yeah.
Like when Forrest is there, like telling you that you're fucking him off with how good you are. Like,
like,
that's
yeah, baby.
I felt like
Can I go ask
untouchable, you
FaZe
know?
if they played? Because I want to know if Carrigan's
Well, okay,
meme
no.
was
So
real.
when Twists was
Yeah, he
sat
mentioned
here,
the legs,
he goes,
bro.
it's not like you're going to be able to look at the floor and see your feet. And immediately, I like looked at him because I was sat there and I'm like, that's an interesting.
That's an interesting
That's
comment.
like the interesting meme to
Legs
me.
Are we
you
allowed
say.
to go up to FaZe and ask them? I know they're getting ready for the game, but
You
I
can do whatever
really
you
wanna-
want, bro.
I really want to know.
You can do whatever you want.
I really
I
want to
gotta
know.
talk to them. Just, Mike, just
I'm gonna
hey
go.
guys,
I'm gonna
go
go
on,
say
Hugo,
hi.
see.
I'm
Go on
gonna
an
say
adventure.
hi.
Go on, Hugo.
Chad?
I'm going to say I don't think they played. I think from what I've seen so far, only Flom, Forrest, Get Right, us with Jason, and then we had 2 individuals as well who were friends of one of the devs.
Yeah.
And they were really nice guys. It was fun playing with them. But yeah, I'm logging in now. I'll let you guys know. We're almost there.
Hey, and you know
There's
what?
no investigation.
This is a great time to do this one thing that we kind of all forgot about, but also with reason. The Air Force Aim High player of the last match. Yeah, I know.
Wait, who was playing? Who was playing the last game?
It
Someone
would have been
remind me?
Navi Outsiders. It was like a 2-0
Right,
thing.
we did have a game.
FaZe.
Oh my God, we didn't give
that
them
game.
the hot breakdown of that
And we didn't
matchup.
say goodbye to G2 either. We haven't even
actually haven't
touched
even
on
touched on it.
We
Yeah,
haven't-
Yeah, because Source 2, guys.
You did an exit.
Yeah.
Great, good for you.
Yeah, so I mean, we
we've
can
been just
take a look at that
disconnected
after
from
the break.
this whole
Congratulations,
timeline.
Simple.
Yeah, it's
Sasha.
simple.
Simple is our aim high player.
Oh yeah,
of
that
the
match. Yeah, that match was
Yeah.
really good. I think.
That was great.
I don't think we have
Yeah,
access
we were all
yet.
right. You all said Navi's going to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Navi
some
goes
of
through
we
to
all
play
said-
heroic.
And
Some
we
of
all
us
said,
did.
Yanko, on that board, G2 were going to be in the Grande finales. Oh dear. We'll
That's
talk
all
more
right.
about that when we come back from our break.
They're going to prepare for Source. Are we going to a break?
No, well, no. The G2 conversation is after the break.
Wait, we still have matches today?
I think
We
so.
actually do have
Wait,
a
did G2 get
competition. We're
eliminated?
still on CSGO.
What?
Did G2 get
They
eliminated?
got 2-0.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
They lost on Ancient and Vertigo.
It is
Yeah,
over.
it's
Yeah, they're
spicy.
out.
Today's all over the
My
place.
fantasy team is
Turns
wrong.
out FaZe didn't go to Seattle.
No.
Carrigan was just playing into the memes.
Yeah, I have, like, that's the thing. We haven't been able to talk about this, which has been quite interesting, especially with all the
difficult.
groundswell in the last week and a half. Like,
Yeah.
you're seeing all this stuff and you're like, man, like, I would love to be able to say something. Like, you're seeing all of these things come out and it's just, it's good now that we can
Exciting
actually talk
time.
about it.
Dude, every time I saw a Gabe follower tweet, like, the graphics probably won't change. I had to pull back like so hard mentally to just write like, you're wrong. You're wrong.
I'm just trying to think, because there's other stuff, right? There's something we learned about the HUD. The HUD's not as customizable as it is right now. That's something that we
Like color
definitely learned.
changing, or what do you mean?
I think the color changing you can still definitely do, but in terms of the scaling of the HUD and where everything is, they're trying to have it a little bit more streamlined for everybody.
Okay.
So you couldn't customize the
I
HUD.
always
as much.
like the
shaded
preset
lower,
pose
so
and
the
how you're
reach-
changing
the
the weapon
radar is
position.
closer.
The main
Oh,
menu.
if we have any 4x3ers, I played 4x3 on stretched. I think I got told not to at one point, but I still did, and it was
felt good.
fine. It was all good. It works fine. It feels the same. So that was good. I got a DM asking about that. So
Oh,
I
nice.
figured
Question
I'd
for you
just-
guys as well. Do we all need to buy a new computer?
I don't think
No,
so.
Valve,
No, they
Valve
perform-
have
I
always
mean-
seemed keen around the idea of everyone being able to play it no matter the rig, right? That was
not
like
gonna
the
be that
original
hungry.
conversation on like why we don't have 128 tick servers because
Plus,
of that.
I wouldn't
logic.
feel good commenting on performance because obviously
I
like,
don't
we were
know.
playing
They weren't
like
our
an early
PCs.
alpha/beta version of
Yeah.
it, right?
And we had
Like,
we had good PCs, so it's hard to
Yeah.
tell. But I'm presuming that will be a priority.
I'll just
for Valve.
pre-order something.
Well, this is
Why
the
did they
thing.
say
Just
good?
kidding.
Why
You
did
needed
want
a
to?
reason,
Not because
just
you
that
need
one.
to.
Just one click away.
I was asking like Rush if I should upgrade, and he's obviously seen all these like Source 2 rumors and stuff. He's like, well, I don't know what's going to happen when the new game comes out. Do you need a better graphics card? Do you need a better processor, right? So I guess we have to wait and see what you need because, hey, look, I want an upgrade to a 4090 as well, man. Don't worry about that. I want to get myself on a new graphics card here. But
You need the 300 FPS on CS2 now.
yeah, right. We're not messing about here. Let's go closer to 1,000 if we can.
I mean,
That's
we're
my new
talking
benchmark.
expanding smokes that fill and shift areas. Like, okay, somebody's computer is going to have a rough one.
That's true.
but not ours. Hey.
But I'm trying to think what else there was. Like
Did you have access? Did you check?
No,
You
not
don't have
yet. I
access?
don't. I looked in the betas thing. There was no
Okay,
access there.
okay.
I may be looking in the wrong place.
so you started talking about sound. I think that's a good one just to kind of expand on. I think that like
They have
one
3
of-
noises now for a kill,
Oh.
whereas we normally only have 2. Like,
guns
Yeah.
sounds different depending on where you're firing. Like if you're in underpass, it's a closed space. And
More
the
echoey.
echo and reverberation of the sound as opposed to being in wide open space, there is a difference there.
yeah, more dynamic sounds.
Yeah,
You kind of hear
I
the
don't know if
environment of the
that.
gunshots.
I feel like that would be nice to have that as a setting, whether you want it on or not.
there's,
Like I think
it gives you
will-
information.
It will sound cool and everything, but I feel like for competitive sort of an environment,
But
you
it
don't
more
want it to be.
imagine if you're in connector on Mirage and you hear shots that are coming from the B direction, but you can differentiate that it's underpass or that they're in B apartments, for example. Is that
All right, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool.
yeah? But that's the thing.
The-
Sound was an issue when we were there, so we can't really talk to that and say it was perfect or anything. 'cause
Yeah,
we
yeah,
really
no,
the biggest thing we pushed home was sound.
sound.
Yeah.
That was where most of the problems were.
Yeah.
Like if you were going to say problems.
Which
How
is
does
crazy.
Deagle sound, Harry?
Bang.
Honestly, when we were there, the guns just kind of felt weird as a whole because like there was some weirdness with like
Harry
sound
was so
to
good
do
at it,
with
though.
to do with like for example the feedback when you get a kill in CS right now is super easy to understand.
Yeah,
Like,
you were explaining
if
the
I-
pitches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's like so. If I like headshot you, for example, and you're wearing
Ah,
a
yeah,
helmet,
yeah.
I get that like satisfying like
Crunch.
like kind of like
in the face.
yeah, and you can't
Yeah.
ignore it. There's no ignoring it. Whereas like in the version that we played of Source 2, there were times where I like didn't really realize I actually killed someone.
We weren't getting
Least
enough
of all,
feedback for the
like,
frag.
Like
Okay.
least of all, I couldn't tell you how I killed them. Like if I just from hearing like kill someone in Source 1, I know if I headshot them, if I body shot them, I know what order I did that combination.
The sacred
in.
dink.
Yeah, right. And it's like in Source 2, I wouldn't even know if I got the kill. Sometimes I'd be like, oh, that's.
Yeah.
But
that
now-
was-
You mean
on the other
audio
side-
feedback of what
I
you're
think,
hitting?
you know,
been a few
we
months.
left a lot of feedback in that.
lot
and
of
I mean
feedback.
like an unreasonable amount of
All
feedback.
of us
right,
were
Harry.
talking about
For
sound sound.
sounds about right.
All of us were
And-
talking about sound.
And I like sat there one day, just like eyes closed for like maybe hour and
We
a
were
half,
running
2
tests,
hours.
like scientists.
Just like running around maps in Source 1 and then tabbing into Source 2 and then doing it on the same map, but like with my eyes closed to see how like it felt, see if I could orientate myself with the audio. And I think it was harder in Source 2, but we made them aware of a lot of different things, so I don't know
They
how...
have some of the best...
And also, yeah, they have incredible people there. A lot of the stuff, you'd say it, and then they would go, oh yeah, don't worry, like, this is something that we've kind of already noticed, and we're like adding and we're working
It's on a whiteboard
implementing.
somewhere around
yeah,
there.
Aside from playing the game, just on the people side, it gave me so much faith for the future of Counter-Strike, knowing that these people are the people running the ship.
They cared.
I felt safe.
They cared.
Yeah.
Like it's not what people think of Valve or CSGO. Like it's the complete opposite, actually, right? Like, and they don't communicate. They didn't need to communicate. The entire community just put on the best marketing campaign that anybody has seen
Keep in
years.
mind, Valve had not
Naturally.
acknowledged Source 2 until today. Think of the swell. Think of the hype that we've been experiencing, all of us, for weeks, for months, for a long time, and Valve had not said shit.
Plus, I actually love that Valve are like this because I think they represent like almost the kind of a dying breed of video game developer that we don't really have anymore. Nowadays, everyone's super social media focused. It's all about like
all about
appeasing
interacting with the community.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Harry. Screw that because people.
Hugo, fuck the fans.
People think they know what they want, but they don't
like, people
always
don't know what they want.
Yeah,
like they don't, because like how do I know? I don't know.
You're not
the
a game
technical-
developer.
Yeah, I don't know the capabilities, like all the cool stuff that you could add that I don't even know are possible. You know that, and sure, like you follow the game, you follow the scene, you can get some feedback if you really want to, but just do whatever you think is best. And then, of course, you can patch it, update it, tweak it. So I think
Valve
that's
have been making the right
because
moves so far.
if you ask people right now about something, you'll get a good amount of every opinion, right? You'll have people who will hate it, a good amount of people who will be, on a scale of 1 to 5, there'll be a 2. The good amount of people who are super hype about it. It's like you can't please everyone. So just do what you think is best.
I really like that they don't like rush into anything. Like
There's no need.
even if the whole community is kind of like kind of set on an issue, they'll still wait to see if that's like backed up by data and like just wait and see like if it evolves over time. And I think that's the perfect way to be. Like imagine if we were a little more like some other titles, I'm talking even like MOBAs, right? Where like balancing happens a lot more frequently. And so you go through these like very clear like metas of, oh, well, this guy was just stronger at this time. So of course everyone was playing, I don't know, like
but meta
this wizard, right?
Whereas from patch notes.
Yeah,
it's true.
And so like
it does change the game completely.
Yeah, whereas like in our game, it's like so much time is given for things to play out. Sometimes problems just fix themselves. It's like, this is really strong. Oh, well, let's figure out a way to counter it. And it's very organic, you know, and that's what I love about CS.
But they have an intention of how they want these things to work, but then what they do is they give us these tools, and then we are the ones who play the hundreds of hours to then work out the best way for them to be applied. I just want to quickly touch on this sound thing we spoke about. 3 different sounds. So there's a goosh sound, a dink sound, and a kill sound. Right, the thing that confused us, right, and that's what was real rattling to us because we're used to having a goosh sound or a dink sound.
Yeah,
that's normally how someone is getting killed, right? Yeah. So when you didn't have that feedback, it's like what Harry was saying. You get a kill from range, and you'd be like, you have to look up. Did I get that kill? Oh yeah, I did. And it didn't feel satisfying. And that is something that they would have worked on because that level of feedback, the lack of satisfaction of a kill made it not feel like Counter-Strike, right?
I didn't even realize I died once. Like the ear crushing death.
Yeah, they got rid of that.
I wanted to open that up to those that haven't played in the sense that, do you appreciate that like dying in CS sucks? Like it feels like you got owned when you get owned. Is that something that you would want to see continued?
Yeah, it has to be. I think it has to be because it's also when you kill someone, you have the same satisfaction.
Right,
I think
it's
rewards.
It's an equilibrium, and I think when you play other games than Counter-Strike here and there, you kind of feel that difference. Like Counter-Strike is very powerful.
Yeah,
it's super powerful.
In the version that we played, it was almost like the audio like ducked a bit when you died, and it like goes a bit quieter, and so it never really felt like super clear that you would hope
I
just
be the
died
case
there.
then.
There were times where I'm like still pushing WASD, and then it went in my brain like, no, I'm dead. I'm going through spectator cams right now. That's what I'm doing.
I just want to know when we get access, man.
No, Chad, just to ride off your point about like the whole damage thing, it felt like, and I don't know if this is true, but this is what it seemed like. So this links into earlier when Hugo was saying that like audio is like different based on like where you are. I think it was you who said this, maybe not. Someone said like if you fire in like lower tunnels, for example, it sounds a bit different, right? And so like the the audio changes based on like distance and whatnot, and sometimes, especially at range, it was like there was no audio feedback on getting a kill. So I hope that changes, because in Source 1, it's like if I do damage to you and you're long, I hear it because I did the damage. You know, like, so I kind of hope that's what happens.
Someone tweeted asking if there was an implement for a bind for removing the silence. I think there was a bind.
There was a bind for removing the silence.
Separate bind to remove the silence.
So Berthel Nielsen, there is a bind for that, and there's a bind for jump throw smokes as well. So that's what I remember. I don't know.
I
what
like
else
taking the audience questions. We should have done this earlier.
Actually tweet us using the hashtag ESL Pro League.
Well, we have another game we have to do.
Yeah, we do.
I think this might have been indicative of everything that happened today. And I thought about it, but I ain't trying to ride that Source 2, like, let's get in here and get in with the conspiracies, this, that, or the other. But Valve are talking at the Game Developers Conference at 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
Today?
Well, I mean, they already had. They already had.
Yesterday, yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Is like they already had, and then obviously we're getting all this fantastic news.
Yeah, right. Well, this is the thing. It was about when this news was going to drop. And this is quite early for them to be dropping it. Normally, the updates come quite late at night. So I wonder when the actual Counter-Strike... okay. Is that... Did they just send that to you now? Yeah, just now. Okay, well, we can... I'm sure we can... Oh, yeah, no, well, he's obviously watching right now.
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't message the two of us like that.
That's a good point, yeah.
Well, you can just say it. Just
well,
say
you
it.
can say it. Go on,
You guys okay?
3, 2, 1, say it.
They're just saying that the limited access for the beta comes out later today.
Okay.
That's
There
from
you
the
go. I'm
that's
packing
from the
it in. I'm
horse's
going
mouth.
back to my
That's
room.
from the horse's mouth.
And
right
also,
there.
that does mean they're watching. So
Yeah.
if they are, hello everyone. We're always getting to see you all.
Yeah.
Invite us back sometime,
Did we miss
maybe.
anything that you want us to talk about?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Well, so actually, when because I messaged them a bit like when the groundswell started happening, and I said like, it's going to blow everyone's minds. And the reply I got was like, I can't wait for people to see the smokes. That's what they're really excited about.
Of course.
And I think they know that that's going to be like the mind-blowing one.
I want to say this. I want to be very clear about this, right? Because Counter-Strike players historically are very resistant to change. And
of course.
It's something that I understand, and it's something that we've all been and we've all seen when things have changed. The gun noise, the M4 changes, the Tech 9, everything. We've been here for 10 years. We've done this a whole lot of times. The Krieg, the dropping nades. Remember, the world is always going to end. We had Molotovs banned in the start of CSGO. You remember those days?
I know.
You remember those days?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? When people look and they use this dynamic with the nade into the smoke, initially, they ask me about it. They go, so what do you think about this? And I go, oh, man, I don't know. And then after 3 days of sitting there and playing it, I go, okay, you've just added a whole new option available. It's not game-breaking. It's situational.
Right.
It's not every round. It's just another tool that you have to pull out to win a sick clutch, to make a really cool play.
Yeah.
It's just adding to this scissor, paper, rock, lizard, Spock situation that we got going
And
on
lizard
here, right, with nades.
Situation. That's
Funnily
cool.
enough, I think it'll end up having this impact as well, where because you have more options, I feel like rounds can be faster now. You're not like
Disrespect more
dictated
smokes,
to by, oh, there's a smoke there. Looks like we're waiting. Now we're pushing it with 10 seconds left because we've been re-smoked 4 times and there is no
And there's no
counterplay
glory
this,
in like watching someone spray 3 dudes going gray screen out of a smoke. Like it just looks like the most kind of.
Oh, they're my favorite kills.
Yeah, I mean, they might feel great,
Personally.
but when we're commentating, it's like, well, we know what's going to happen, and it happens.
They run up a ramp and everyone's dead now.
Yeah, but like there is a little bit of that rock paper.
Oh,
scissors.
yeah. I don't know about this. I'm going to say this. There's no more skyboxes.
Oh,
That is great.
Wait, that's all? Like,
Oh,
as in for
boy.
smokes across the map?
You remember? No more skyboxes?
I didn't even
I
find that out.
I did not remember this.
Oh, okay. I guess just me then.
That's
You
it.
remember this,
Yeah,
right? There's
yeah.
no more skyboxes.
So wait, what does that
Also,
open up? that
like
we
you
don't
just
know?
throw
Unlimited
smokes.
creation.
I think
Something
specific
to talk
positions. What?
They want us to...
Talk about how good looking the dev team
And
is.
that's
That is so hot.
And it is true.
Those
to
guys,
be fair.
where do you wanna start,
work
Harry?
out. Yeah. Those guys live.
They do wall sits throughout the office all day.
Yeah, they have a lot of standing desks. They're staying mobile.
I saw one of them when they were in Rio. He was carrying, a pack of adult diapers and
Really?
however,
no Monster Energy.
and a bunch of Monster Energy, and he just
B hopped out the door, I think.
B hopped out the door, right?
Yeah, as you do.
And he was using the Source 2 movement, so
Yeah.
All right. I was just trying to work
He
out
was
which
just
one
trying
of
to
the needs
contain his
adult
energy
diapers.
before he shits all over those kids, I think.
there you go.
Just what else? There's definitely more stuff. I'm trying to recall the entire. They're trying to recall the entire trip.
There was a lot. It was intense.
Okay, so even the way you lobby up is cooler now.
Yes.
Like if you want to go to like real bare bones, like when you launch the game, I like the way the menu looks. I don't know how you found it, but like I thought it was cool.
when you
Looks
have a
modern. It
lobby-
just looks modern. It's like what you expect from like a modern game, right? Like even though we've come a long way, like updating onto the panorama UI,
Yeah.
was it? Was
I don't know,
was
man.
the
Yeah,
change?
panorama,
And and that was like off of scale form. This is like that same level of jump now, like into something else.
That's
right?
sick. I like that, man.
Yeah, you
I
know,
like my game to be
like,
pretty.
Like when you invite people, they like physically appear as like a model on like your on like the
Apex Legends
background,
or whatever,
kind of
they
like
just pop up in your lobby.
kind of like that.
So you have your skins, and I imagine you can
skins,
select your
region.
gun.
Oh
which
yeah,
do
you
already,
can.
right,
You
in the
can
main menu.
select
You can
what
select your
skin you
gun.
want it to like showcase.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
you get cards at the.
Yeah, that was at the end.
Yeah, you get cards now, which is like it like just basically like says like a fact about how you did.
It's
Kind
an
of similar to
upgrade
like
from the kernel or the the quiet one.
Survive.
The fire starter.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like a way more visually appealing, better main menu. People keep tweeting, will skins carry over? Yes.
It says it right in the release.
already
Read the blog
announced.
post. Read the blog post.
The
There's
other
plenty of
one
stuff
we're
online.
getting. Did they change the team names? As
That
in
is an
off of
interesting
Oh, I
idea.
actually didn't know.
T's and
I don't
CTs
know.
to attack and defense.
I don't think so.
I don't think they
Doubtful.
did, from my memory.
But I
I'm
did.
pretty
I
sure
did
it
talk
was.
to them about that.
Yes.
I want to make that clear. Like they are aware of the idea, but I mean, there is also like there's a kind of a but why.
In my head, like you're still like
Are we opening this can of worms now?
it's-
We
I
have
mean,
a
it
debate
is a
about
can.
T's and
No,
TTs and all
no,
that.
no, well,
still
because
planting
I
bombs
feel
and
you.
shooting people.
I just
so-
brought it up because there are some sponsors
It's a valid
that don't
point.
touch
It's a valid point.
tactical shooters because of some of the explosions and the blood. But basically, the bottom line is the name of the forces is not the problem. There is a lot of other things that
Yes.
the
Like
core
the
features
guns
of the
and the
game,
bombs.
the guns,
Bombs,
the
yeah,
bombs, the blood,
And I say,
headshots.
like, leave it as it is. There's like too many games nowadays that are FPSs that are like cartoony and stuff.
Sure.
Which I mean, I get it. I get that side of it, but there's nothing like CS, and I think that's a lot of
Keep
people
it real.
appreciate that it feels like it resembles the real world, and obviously it's a game, and you're playing the game, and you're having a great time.
Yeah.
Okay, hold up here. Let me scroll. We got some more questions.
But it comes out in the
notifications.
summer,
Do
so
notifications.
when does the Switch actually happen?
I'll hook you up, Bianca. Don't worry, I'll hook you.
No,
up.
I mean,
when
not
does
for
the
that,
change?
but
about this.
when
Well,
are we
definitely after the next major circuit.
Okay, so we're getting some questions
who
about
knows?
was movement still the same?
No, it was slightly different.
It felt similar.
Yeah.
And I think like a mixture of
models.
things mixed with like how your model moves / the
Movement
audio
speed as well,
has
equal?
well, for me, there's like an audio component to movement speed as well as the
Yes,
actual movement
'cause of your
speed. Like
feet.
you feel a certain pace, and this was like one of the notes I left them was
Okay.
that. In Source 1, when you change to your knife, your actual like cadence of the
were
walk changes.
faster.
You can hear that, right? And in Source 2, you move faster still, but like you don't hear it.
You have
It
the
doesn't
keyboard is the
actually
same. Okay,
change
that's
the
a problem.
audio.
That's a good note, Harry.
Yeah, and,
We're even
and so-
listening to the fire rate of the AK between both games. And the one in Source 2 sounded slower, right? So
Yeah, although I
you
think
couldn't
if I
control your
remember
spray as
right,
good.
no, if I remember right, there actually was a bug while we were there.
Oh,
and
really?
The AK spray was like mistimed or something, so that it like
Ah.
I know I remember them
Just
saying
enough.
that like
Ooh. Yeah.
it actually
you
wasn't
giving us a
firing as
demonstration?
And here's
fast as-
something.
I wanted to do
Yeah.
because people might have missed this, right?
Go on.
So the way it was when we were there, when you'd turn, right, your whole body would pivot as the model, right? Which would actually make it harder for you to
Yeah.
track heads. So when we were talking to them about it, they reduced that down, so you would still move a little bit. So if I'm behind a player and he's starting to move, I know which way he's going.
Yes.
So you know how pistol kills in the back suck because you can never know where they go. Well, here you know which way they're strafing, right?
okay.
It's not. And if you don't know
like
where they
lean in
left
the
it.
direction.
Like
right?
every key they're pressing is reflected
Got a
in their
physical
model.
component.
Exactly.
Like in the body
Yeah,
language,
That's
right?
right. Sliming away.
So Harry
Yeah.
explained it really well before. Before, your top half was rigid. So when you'd move around, you just move around like this, like just really, really
rectangle.
rigid, right? But then the way we were playing it, you would actually get some like lean into where you were going. You would actually, you could physically see it on the model, right? Which would make certain situations more awkward. Like things like on the stairs on Mirage, because you're going up a thing and you boop, 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 boop.
Yeah,
It was a bit
So
weird.
you're
And your,
saying
and your
that
feet
the-
are like this on a ramp. Like you
That's
kind
true.
of, when you're
Oh
going up
yeah,
an incline.
wait! You guys just reminded me of another big thing that the whole thing that like spurred this on is like now like in Source 1, you don't actually touch the ground. You're just kind of doing
Floating
like
on it,
a
yeah.
Kinda
preset
floating, yeah.
animation gliding just above the floor.
That's
now
right.
you're actually grounded. Your feet
So, for
are
example-
actually,
oh, it's my
like,
turn.
It's an actual interaction that your feet are making contact with the floor, and that influences
Where your model
how
height is and
your-
everything.
How your model.
So in
is.
old CS, if I was going up to this and I was going, it was one of those textures. I'd just step and I'd be on a different, like you know how when you're on the break point, you kind of go up and
Yeah.
down. You can touch
Bip
the
bop,
keys.
bip bop.
Whereas now, if I was to stop here, my model would be doing this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's like
like
leaning into
You're
it.
actually stepping on the things.
Your
you're
waist
stepping on.
moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
We're really good at movement here
So
today, aren't we?
you're telling me, Chad, that with this new movement, Source 2, like the Nico Deagle round on Nuke wouldn't have happened?
Rewriting history.
Well, we can replay that final.
we should.
We replay
can
that final and we'll
they
see
need
what
a win,
happens.
Chad. Today or out of all days.
Today was a rough one for him, wasn't it? What else we got, Harry?
Well,
rack the brain.
So just to like tie into like the whole movement conversation is like, yeah, they were saying they wanted to give like this feeling of like inertia, like you have like a movement that you're building into and / like carrying as you slow down, right? So it was I would say it was like too much in the version that we played.
But we watched him go like,
but
this is a value.
And
I
this
could
was
set
one
it
of the
to 0.
coolest things because like we got to see, you know, how the sausage is made, right? It was all there on the computer. And I remember
Terrible
like
analogy.
they like followed this you must have I can't even describe how it looks, but it's almost like all like these little interconnecting
obviously a
parts,
sausage.
right? And then and then he like changes this one or two values and it was like, oh, now what do you make of this? And that was all was required to like completely change how the model was moving within the game, was like altering one number and suddenly it looked like what we're used to seeing, you know? And that gave me so much faith because I was like, wow. At first I thought, you know, we've come here and obviously, you know, it's a big opportunity. So day one was very like, oh, this is so cool. But day two, it was like, okay, let's get serious now and really start testing this and seeing if we like it. And I think we gave a lot of
Day one,
feedback,
everyone
right?
was really nice. Day two, we all went out for dinner, not with the Valve devs, just us. And we sat down and we went, all right. And everyone kind of pulled up their socks and was like, well, it's time to be mean about it.
Here
we go again. And then we're with some of the loveliest people in the world, like Flom and Forrest and Get Right. We're all looking at each other at the table like, all right, we're going to war tomorrow, you know? Like, we're going in and everyone... We had a bit of better feedback day two, I thought.
I got a question, and it's probably going to be a common one in the sense of, can I buy 2 M4s within the same
Should we explain the thought process there?
This is something we actually talked to them about at Rio, even prior to going to the headquarters. I asked them that at dinner. I said, like, yeah, why can't you select both weapons? Why aren't they both in the buy menu? And I'm probably going to butcher this, but the way they explained it actually made a lot of sense from their logic, and I like their logic.
To be fair, everything they say makes a lot of sense.
Everything they say makes a lot of sense because even if I don't necessarily agree with the answer, I can see how they got there and I can see how the logic that they took to come up with the answer. The answer was, we believe Counter-Strike is a game of decisions, and those decisions are not only decisions you make in the game, but decisions that you make before the game, coming into the game, thinking about specifically, like the idea of like changing it map to map or match to match or opponent to opponent. So they like the fact that it forces you to make the decision before the game. These two are laughing. There's the answer. You're never going to get it.
No, you're right. Sorry, stick with it. What's so funny? The CSGO dev just said, talk about how Harry completely dominated major champion Forrest.
He did.
To the point that Forrest would yell,
That's what I heard.
fuck Harry, give Harry his flowers.
That was common.
It has been mentioned.
He learned about the Deagle. I can do it versus Forrest, but not versus Dinko. That's just asking too
It's
much.
just a different echelon, man. So one day you'll graduate to Dinko levels. But
no, man, it was really cool. I'm trying to, I don't.
Should we ask him about the thing that I was talking about that I don't know if we can talk about?
I really hope
I have a
that
question for you guys.
Second time of teasing or something?
You know, one of the big things that I really want to see is something to do with the, you know, like MMR matchmaking system. So I don't know if they gave you any.
Okay,
there are a lot of
so
things we didn't find out
them
about.
a lot about this, but they did the classic thing where like they wouldn't reveal much, right? And they kind of
they make you talk.
Yeah, basically the way that it would work is you would go up to them thinking you're being sly, and you would say like, and you'd be like, hey
pal.
So you know how we all play the game matchmaking, right? You guys aren't doing any tweaks there, are you? And then they would go,
what tweaks
I don't
would
know,
you do?
we might be. What would you change? and then it's like, well, shit. Like,
so actually, there were things like, for example, we didn't even try skins. Like it didn't even enter the conversation. I'm sure.
No, we weren't on our own accounts, right?
Yeah, and we didn't have skins.
So we didn't have any skins. Didn't look at skins. Obviously, then Valve aren't stupid, guys. Valve know that skins are important. Skins are going to be fine. They're going to probably be better, if anything. But yeah, we didn't actually get any answers.
They did joke that they were just going to get rid of that. And I was like,
they're all gone.
They're all gone.
So
we didn't get any answers about MM, but there were implications of
There was a really interesting conversation I had on the last day.
Yeah,
we were sitting at the dinner.
We were chilling.
He asked me this question, and I want to pose it to everyone.
Here we go.
He said, okay, so let's say, and this is obviously just a complete fictional universe, but he says, let's say you can have one of the two things. One of the reasons you play Face It is for the ranking, being able to see how good you are in comparison to everyone else, your ELO, the number that goes up, or like X in the UK, I'm top 100 UK, whatever that is.
Like MMR, right?
Or you can have high quality games where you know no one's cheating and you can have super high quality games. Let's say that you can have, it's one or the other. Which one would you be leaning towards?
It's a hard question.
It is a really hard question.
I don't even know if there's a right answer.
Would you rather progress?
It's an easy answer and there's a true answer.
No, I don't think cheese was as much as the conversation as it was
games
like
are
competitive quality
like 16,
games.
14.
Because when we go into MM at Global, like right now the ranking's pretty busted. We queue 5 globals. We'll play against MGs and we'll
Sometimes we play against globals and it's a 16.
Yeah. So the question here is, forget cheaters for a second. The question is, would you rather to see your progress numerically and know that you're improving in the ranks, ELO, whatever you want to call it? Or would you rather play more competitive games? That's a hard question.
Or would you rather go to break?
No!
And stop talking about Source 2 as much as I'd love to. I'm so sorry to be that guy. But hey, guess what? While this Counter-Strike iteration is still on the table, FaZe still have a chance at winning the Grand Slam, and that comes up after the break when they take on Furia in our bracket of F, basically. So go ahead and take a look. All the names there are F. It's crazy. It's a wild phenomenon. Nonetheless, I've enjoyed the Source 2 conversation. We'll be right back after this.
We love you, Val.